Who of the Tiger King characters deserves empathy? What does Carole Baskins hate most about the series? And how to explain SAFF'S loyalty to Joe Exotic after all he went through? Hi, I'm Peter, and you're watching OSSA Movies. While most of us are still unable to digest the craziest docu-series hit from Netflix, we tried to rank the most eyebrow-raising moments on Tiger King. Number 9. Carole's Fetish Nuptials. As mentioned by one blogger, if Elon Musk and Cersei Lannister had a child, it would be Carole Baskins. Is every multimillionaire obliged to do some freaky stuff? Or is it just Carole? As a rich bride, she could afford basically anything for her big day. Still, her wedding photos are jaw-dropping, and not because of how expensive it looked. A white dress, her signature flower wreath, and quite a surprising accessory, her fiancé Howard on a leash in a Fred Flintstone suit. Yes, this one requires a pause to let that sink in. But hold on, things are about to get even weirder. Number 8. Joe's pink wedding threesome. Okay, now Carole's wedding seems almost ordinary. She loves big cats, she loves her husband, so her wedding was just a combination of her favorite things. Gosh, I can't believe I just said that. And here's the protagonist, Joe, on one of his numerous nuptials. Cowboy hat, bright pink shirt, roses, candles, and 2 young husbands in matching outfits to exchange the vows with. Isn't that exotic? And isn't that illegal? And another part of this story is that neither John Finlay nor Travis Maldonado seemed to be actually gay when they married Joe. Right, John later found himself a girlfriend, and poor Travis was completely lost when he met polygamist and homosexual Joe. Still, neither of them seemed to be stepping into three-way marriage against their will. Joe Exotic must have some crazy persuasion skills. Number 7. Doc Antle's harem. Now I'm starting to think that Joe with his 2 husbands is quite a humble family man. What did this series do to my brain? But that's only because of another bonkers big cat collector, Doc Antle, aka an upscale version of Exotic. Doc has a full set of wives, and though we may never find out their total number, he has formed some sort of cult around himself and his zoo. Reportedly, Antle hires pretty and young women to be a part of his ever-rotating harem. He's also grooming them to become zookeepers at an alleged payment of $100 a week. According to a former staffer member, Barbara, once you become part of Antle's pack, you lose yourself completely. You must give up your identity, including your name, and dedicate yourself to the preserve, the animals, and Doc himself. Doesn't it sound creepy as hell? And how do these victims even end up with Antle? We believe that Doc deserves his own spin-off series and his own FBI investigation. Number 6. Jeff Lowe's dirty not-so-secrets. This character has a fairly good chance of being the most insane of all, despite being the latecomer. Jeff was frank enough to reveal the details of his intimate life, namely the swingers outings with his wife. Yet the most disturbing thing about Lowe is his shameless animal abuse. Together with his wife Lauren, he took a bunch of Joe's tiger cubs to Vegas in suitcases. And the reason for that is as crazy as you can imagine, to get girls. And he was rude enough to tell his very young, pregnant wife that he needs to get her back in shape quickly. But while that happens, he has picked an attractive nanny whose job description supposedly involves more than just taking care of their child. Gosh, does this man know anything about morality? I highly doubt it. Whatever he does, he seems to never stop playing the role of bastard. His relationship with Joe started as an angel investment in the zoo, which later turned into co-ownership. Eventually, Joe lost his power and Jeff was the sole owner of GW Zoo. Allegedly, Lowe was the one to encourage Exotic to make a desperate move against Carole, and we all know how this story ended. The alligator drama. Though it's still not confirmed who is to blame for the suspicious fire with 7 animal victims, Joe is believed to be linked to it. When his office and alligator den burnt down, it wasn't an accident. Someone started that fire. But why would Joe turn to killing his own animals? The possible reason for that may be Exotic's attempt to hide an even darker truth about himself.
He blamed anybody and everybody but himself. But the bottom line is, 2 days before the studio fire, he and I got into an argument over the fact that I had a contract with him to make the reality show.
The producer, Rick Kirkham, at that time was making a reality show about Joe, and he kept his equipment and reels of unfiltered footage of the zookeeper at the office. Whatever was in that footage, we can't help but feel sorry for the poor alligators. Number 4. SAFF'S impressive loyalty. If you watch Tiger King, you must have realized that GW Zoo is hardly the safest place to work at. Kelsey Saff Safri, the soft-spoken army veteran turned zookeeper, may be the only person in the show who truly cares about animals. Saff lost his arm when he touched a big cat instead of using a stick. Nightmare, right? But not only did he stay at the zoo after the attack, Saff returned to work just 5 days after the incident. Some think it was an attempt to protect Joe and the zoo from bad press. But come on, this is one of the greatest examples of loyalty I've ever seen.
I was afraid that I had just ruined something for Joseph. You know, he fights off enough as it is, and this I knew would just make it harder on him.
And of course, his love for tigers must be the reason for his behaving as if nothing serious had happened. And in addition to all this, Saff gives the interview in a pile of garbage. Hey, Netflix, is this your way of showing empathy to the character? Number 3, the rumors about Carole Baskins' former husband. Well, this story has really pushed us over the edge, although it's not finished yet. Carole Baskins may seem like a victim who could be easily dead by now, but is she that innocent? Carole's former husband, multimillionaire Don Lewis, mysteriously disappeared in 1997. The spouses were running their animal sanctuary together, and they allegedly had ideological differences on their business approach. Rumor has it that Carole is the one to blame for Don's death. After being missing for 5 years with few leads, he was presumed dead in 2002. Carole's enemies, like Joe Exotic and Don's ex-wife and daughters, are convinced that Baskin killed her husband and fed him to the tigers. Moreover, the family members claim that Baskin had threatened his life. And there's one more suspicious thing. Lewis's will included a condition of his disappearance. How do you explain that? Of course, Don could have simply escaped to Costa Rica, where he had some business, and he might have started a new life over there. But his case remains unsolved and really disturbing. Carole Baskins was very angry that this story featured in the documentary. And what pissed her off even more is Joe Exotic's music video, Here Kitty Kitty. Joe lip-synced to the country music song, while a Baskins lookalike was feeding human remains to the big cats and laughing evilly. Gosh. Number 2, Travis shoots himself. There's a lot of drama throughout the series, but the darkest moment of all is perhaps the death of the 23-year-old Maldonado. While making the show, Travis took his own life, supposedly by mistake. We could only see the reaction of Joshua Dial, Exotic's former campaign manager, who witnessed that horrifying moment and was caught on CCTV. We can only guess if Travis did that on purpose or not, but at the time, his mental health was poor, and he obviously was lacking emotional support. He was an addict, and he deserved help. And we still cannot believe that Joe Exotic spoke about his late husband balls in front of his mother at the funeral. Or the fact that he used the funeral to promote his music career. Could that be any worse? Number 1, Joe's sentence of 22 years. Perhaps we all knew that Exotic would have to pay for his deeds sooner or later. And the zookeeper was found guilty of hiring a person to murder Baskin, as well as violating multiple wildlife laws. Maybe it is fair punishment for Joe, considering that there might be some other sins hidden away. But the main question here is why Exotic is the only one in jail. Jeff Lowe is obviously linked to the murder for hire. Doc Antle reportedly has a crematorium in his zoo, and Alan Glover was going to kill a woman. The FBI should also find out the truth about Carole's husband. And Joe Exotic plans on turning his former business partners, cohorts, and other key players over to the police. Well, the story is definitely not over, and the FBI are continuing their investigation. Honourable mention. These moments were not crazy enough to make it into our top 10, but we just can't ignore them. We simply knew that a series named Tiger King would use Eye of the Tiger as its soundtrack, and the song highlights the moment when James Garretson, aka Oklahoma's James Bond, was racing a jet ski. He must be really proud of his 30 seconds of fabulousness. Does Alan Glover look like a Witcher fan to you? No? Then why did he choose to be interviewed in a bath, drunk and crying? Not the strangest thing we've seen, but still strange. How did you react to the skeleton in John Reinke's passenger seat? Let's just hope this set of bones is a fake one. But with all the crazy lifestyles we've seen on the show, no one can be sure about that. And what about that episode of Implants Amnesia? Doc Antle's former employee shared that she somehow got her implants while working at his zoo, and she does not remember it at all? How is this even possible? We're kind of sad that Joe's music career didn't take off. Yes, he was lip-syncing. Yes, it was a very niche country segment. But still, Exotic is more convincing in the role of musician than politician.
'Cause I saw a tiger, now I understand. I saw a tiger, tiger saw a man.
Or maybe you prefer Howard Baskin's serenade of If I Would Ever Leave You to Joe's I Saw a Tiger. And last but not least is the bizarre sense of style in the world of big cats. Carole Baskins' every garment is animal printed. Jeff Lowe looks like he should be on the set of some 80s car chase movie, and Joe Exotic's wardrobe is a mix of rodeo cowboy and Vegas showgirl. Is that called fashion? What did you find the most shocking on Tiger King? Would you like to see a spin-off about any of the show's characters? Tell us in the comments and subscribe to our channel. Thank you guys for watching this video and for staying awesome.